everyone, Mike with MJ Scale Modeling here with another video. We are going to be working on our 234-1 again today. We're going to be working on doing our dot filter and a little painting on the tires and stuff like that. Going to go over a whole procedure I use for dot filtering and everything like that. If you guys have any opinions or different thoughts about dot filtering, like I said in my very first video, this channel is about learning. Feel free to drop it in the comment section. And let's go ahead and get to work on this 234-1 we've been working on, and let's do it. Let's get to it. And of course, here we are applying our Pledge Revive It, which, like I've said in other videos, I think is an excellent product to use when you need to do a dot filter or a wash or a pin wash or anything like that. It saves you a ton of money of actually using like Tamiya gloss or anything like that, and it works just the same. So highly recommend Pledge Revive It. You can get it at the grocery store, you can get it at Target, get it at Walmart. Get it at Menards, all those places carry it, so highly recommend Pledge Revive It. And of course, you always want to have a gloss coat on when you're applying your decals. These are my water slide decals for this kit, and I'm applying them with Mr. Mark Setter, which I like a lot more than the Tamiya Mark setting or decal setting solutions, so highly recommend it. Here you can see we're getting ready to apply our dot filter, which we're using with Winsor & Newton oil paints, and the colors I chose are Burnt Sienna, Van Dyke Brown, and Lamp Black, and you just put those on in little dots all over the hull of the vehicle. And honestly, I probably applied it a lot heavier than I needed to. As you can see, it completely blacks out the entire front hull of the vehicle here. However, it gives you a lot of wiggle room. It's just a lot more work to get it all off to get the proper effect you want. But I mean, that's the great thing with oil paints, is they're movable, and you can pretty much make them do whatever you want. So don't be dismayed if you feel like you put too much on when you do it. I did make a bit of a slight error here. Is usually when I'm working on a dot filter on a vehicle, I start from the top down. And on this vehicle, for whatever reason, I started on the front of the hull of the 234 rather than working from the top down. And the reason I like to do that is because as you're doing your dot filter, it does kind of go over the edges a little bit, and then you end up having to fix your previous work. So I kind of like to just treat it almost like where would water go. It starts from the top and it dribbles down, so I usually work from the top down. Because I kind of made that mistake, I ended up just kind of working from really wherever the tide took me. The biggest thing to remember when you're doing a dot filter is just take your time. Just relax, put on a show if you can handle that, unless you have ADD, like a lot of my club members tell me. I like to put on a little show when I'm doing my dot filter, a movie or something, and just kind of putz away at it. Just take your time and make sure you do it right, because once it dries, you're going to have a hard time getting it back to normal. And I recently just did a tank I didn't make a video of, but it was a Sherman that was a captured Sherman, and I had it out in German colors and stuff like that. And if anybody wants to see that tank, I can post some pictures of it in the next video maybe. But I previously with German gray had done gray, blue and white oil paints, and it turned out really good. And this time the tank came out just completely blue. It looked horrible, and I let it dry, and I had to repaint the tank and start from scratch, because it looked like a Smurf. So just make sure you take your time, do it right, and if you don't like your results, get on it right away and fix it up before you let it dry. And the thinner I'm using for my oil paints is Turpenoid. It's a scentless turpentine that you can get at like Michael's or any hobby shop anywhere really, and it works just as good, and it doesn't, fumigate you out of your room. Here I had to dirty up the inside of the turret a little bit, and rather than applying dots inside the turret, I just put a little bit on the tinfoil, made the brush a little bit saturated with paint, made sure it was a thin coat, and added it inside. When you're painting inside of a small turret or an area like this, be careful too, because as you can see, there's a lot of little small pieces in there, and you can very easily send one of those babies launching if you're not careful. So here with the tires, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I always use NATO black for tires. I don't know why. It gives it a good dry black look. I do have Tamiya rubber. I've never used it yet. I just have always been so happy with the results from Tamiya black, NATO black. So if anybody's used the Tamiya rubber color, let me know what you guys thought of it, or what you prefer to use for rubber colors when you're doing tires on a vehicle. But I mean, I think it looks okay. I mean, what do you guys think?